what about games? The games themselves. Well, games and software. There's been a steady stream of increasingly better and more appealing, I think, to a general market games titles. I think there's also stuff like I've seen people like sculpt and paint, and like even one friend of mine has like a street art game or app of some sort. So like, what's available right now? How far has that come since you were initially looking at it, like the games and the apps development? And then kind of what are we looking at for the future? And like, what are you excited about?
Go on, Daniel, I'll let you say what you've played first, because I might cover everything and then like...
Yeah, I think...
I've been doing it so much longer. Go on.
I can't wait to hear your list. I only have, because I want to get recommendations. This is awesome. So
yeah, exactly.
Some of the games that I've played, when I got my HTC Vive, it had a promotion coming out with Fallout. I have not played Fallout on VR yet, but I did play Elder Scrolls Skyrim. It is literally the full game of Elder Scrolls Skyrim in VR, which is awesome. You can choose different ways to walk. You can do a point and click walk. That's something that is in VR that people need to know. There's 2 different types of ways of walking in VR, and it will give you that choice. There's a point and click where literally you're holding with your controller, and it gives you a measuring stick, like it goes longer as you hold it, and you get to pick which way you want to go. Once you let go, it teleports you to that. That's point and click. Or a simulate walking where when you hold the button, your character walks, and when you turn your head, it moves that way.
That's awesome.
I like that.
So that's the way that I like playing, and that's the way that I played the Skyrim, and it was fun, but it's hard to play those types of games because it's so much, and it's like, oh my God, I could only play for 3 hours. I was sweating like bullets. My head was spinning. But when I play Beat Saber, and there's no games that have a lot of movement and things like that. Yeah, movement with this, but I mean like no too many moving your head around and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't get
I feel
that.
like that could be nauseating after a while.
But that's what that. So Beat Saber.
Beat Saber is like a must. I feel like
that's why everybody seems to have that one.
It's so much fun.
So fun to watch.
It's like DDR. Like
yeah, it is. Elder Scrolls Skyrim and Fallout. I haven't tried that one yet, but yes, I just saw the Hellblade. So like got a VR upgrade. I want to try that. I saw Cyborg just played it. What really? Yes.
Amazing.
Really?
Yeah. Like I felt like I was actually there. I felt like I was one of the voices in her head. And
the atmosphere is so good in that game.
Oh, it's like even when you're in it, it's even worse, or not even worse.
Oh wow!
Scary.
Intense. Yeah, it's scary. It's like really scary. Like I walked through a forest at one point, and while you're playing the game, you don't notice it, but I noticed that there was eyes appearing on all the trees, and I was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And there was a couple of points where I went, "Oh my God," and knocked the microphone, and then I was like, "Ah, what's in front of me?" Like, because I forget that the microphone's there, and you just scare yourself on absolutely everything in VR. And I didn't think Hellblade would be that intense, but it like amazing. The problem is with games, as it gets better, a lot of people are going to experience or sometimes experience motion sickness, and I think that's you do Daniel.
On certain games, there are certain games that I feel motion sickness, and there's certain games that I don't. Like again, I have about 15 games on VR. Half of them would give me motion sickness, half of them wouldn't. I can really definitely recommend Rick and Morty for anybody who's a fan and likes just stupid office cleaner. What?
I haven't played it yet.
Please do. It is so funny. It is so funny. If you like the show.
That, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to try that one.
If you know anything about Job Simulator, it's almost that. You're basically their slave, and you gotta do whatever they want. Rick and Morty, you're a clone. So it's pretty fun. Sorrento VR is the game that I would say is so tight, but it gets me so much motion sickness. Think about you being literally a Warframe. It's a ninja that gets to jump around everywhere, slicing people and shooting them with guns. It was amazing. Sound really good. But it's for VR, it's hard. It's hard.
I think with motion sickness in general, like everyone will experience some kind of motion sickness when you play VR. The problem is some people will experience it more than others. And with that, I think you just need to take more breaks. Don't just not play it and be like, I can't play this because I feel sick, or I'm just going to power through the sickness. Don't ever do that, by the way.
Oh, you'll get more sick.
throwing up. You will legit end up hugging the toilet, throwing up later. So don't do that. As soon as you feel sick, take it off, because if you don't take it off and give yourself like 5 minutes just for your brain to like relax, because it goes into overdrive, your brain will associate VR with motion sickness. So you'll actually end up getting it more often if you allow your brain to just deal with it instead of retraining.
It is an endurance thing, like she's saying. Because I could, when I first started, I only could have done it for about maybe an hour or two. Now for some games, I can do 4 hours, 5 hours.
So do you think it's a better idea to like kind of like schedule that for yourself as a streamer? Be like, I'm gonna put in 2 hours today and maybe extend it if I'm feeling great. That kind of thing.
It's probably good to keep that in mind. Like, especially, I would say like with any new VR game that you're gonna play, like you don't know what it's gonna do to you, right? Like you play Hellblade for the first time and you might be like get too nauseous or like, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's a smart thing to do.
With Hellblade, even though it's third person, sorry, did you need to? I was speaking over you slightly there.
No, man.
Okay. I think with Hellblade, even though it's third person view, it's kind of like you still get, like you said, you don't know what a game's going to be like, and I ended up getting motion sick after the first half an hour. But at the beginning of the program, or the beginning of the game, and I don't get very motion sick. It says take a 5-minute break every half an hour, and if you did that, you can actually last a little bit longer in the game. So I don't think it's a case of going, I'm only going to stream 2 hours or 3 hours of VR. You can do a longer duration of time, but you need to make sure that you are stopping, sitting down, taking it off, having water, because oh my god, you feel so dehydrated when you're in the Vive. It's like going to the gym. So just sit down, have a bit of water, and just talk to your viewers. Like, you don't have to stop playing, just take 10 minutes out to talk to them, because you can read the chat better, I'm guessing, when you're out of it.